is Elwood EQ. It's been a while, and I'm playing on my Beastlord, and I've been really enjoying playing him, so I thought I would put a video out on the macros I use on him, and what I've been learning about pet pulling. I'm not a pro, but it's there, and it looks like I might have a guildmate here in the cool. But I'm doing a video right now. Anyway, oh no, he's doing trade skill stuff. Okay, so it's my Beastlord, and sorry. This is my spell lineup I use 90% of the time, even when I'm grouping. I like to pick spell lineups that are sort of a catch-all. Maybe I don't excel. I'm a grouper. I don't raid, so I like to kind of hit all the bases with the spell lineups. I hate shifting spell lineups just to buff. So the way I saw it, I had 7 slots open for things I use during combat, and everything else are buffs. So I keep the buffs on my spell lineup all the time. So this is the spell lineup I use. There's a spell lineup I named for when I want to use my pet in more of a damage, less of a tanky type of thing, and that's just this buff right here, aggression, which makes it more accurate and hit for more, but doesn't reduces aggro and as well as hit points. And I think armor class too by a bit. Yeah, 80% or 80 armor class less. So there's that with that. But then this other one here, this, if you're not familiar, this basically makes your pet more of a tank. So Beastlord has a lot of buffs that help accuracy. So that helps offset some of the negatives from the tank buff for the pet to help him still be able to hit stuff a bit. So there's that. And pet heals I haven't set up yet. That's something I was kind of playing with. I always have a healer merc or I'm in a group, so that's not as important to me. They tank pretty well. Suspend companion. I really don't need that on anymore. I was thinking about trying to have more than one pet set up so that I could switch and have one really geared up and set up completely for one purpose, or but I think that the buff that you put on the pet really makes the biggest difference, and this is really not needed for unless you want to try to chain pets because of fighting something super hard. That's something I know mages do. That's a possibility, but it's an expense and a need that I really don't have. Pact of the Wolverine. Rhine. Is that how you pronounce that? I'm horrible at that. Anyway, this is a AA buff that we get. This is maxed out for me at the max level. So, but you get various stages of this most of the way up. I think it starts, I don't know. I think it's probably level 80 or so. It might start giving you those, maybe 90. A lot of stuff, a lot of the real fun stuff start at when you hit level 90. It's either 80 or 90 when you start getting that, and that's really nice. It helps with your accuracy, dual wielding. Movement speed is crazy. I run about at a movement speed of 73, and when you have the very fast mounts that are pretty common, you move at 75, but there's a little bit of a motion sort of lag with it that's meant to simulate being on a mount, and I really end up getting to places before people are on mounts a lot of the time. Unless we're running straight for a very long time, clear across the zone, then I kind of get outpaced after a while. But if there's many turns or anything like that, I'm just pretty much right there with them. And then it gives maximum health and mana with it, and mana regen with it. It's a really good buff. Hobble Spirits is something that a lot of people, this was introduced way back in some of the old days, maybe Luckland, when they introduced the class. It's a snare that your pet does. Reduces the movement speed by 60%. It's a perma buff too, you don't have to keep doing it, as well as this packed one here. Once you put it on you, it's on you until you upgrade it, and then you have to hit it again. Then it'll give you the upgraded version of it if you're still working on your AAs. And Taste of Blood, it helps with some offensive things a bit. The pet has to land the killing blow. You can read this. It's a pretty good one. You notice it more when you're grinding. So, there's that. So that's some of the stuff that aren't really in the spell lineup. I'll highlight it once again if you want to take a look at it. So if you think, oh, I don't have that one, I'll use that one. I'm not going to say a lot about a lot of the other buffs. You can read the descriptions. I guess I hit the A's a little bit, but that's okay. Now the macros I use is my slow. This is the AA slow. That's a 70% slow. It doesn't last super long. It's a little over a minute and a half is the duration, but it also is hard to land. A lot of times you have to recast it 2 or 3 times on a mob. So sometimes if I notice my pet's taking a little bit extra damage, I'll make sure I stick it on. But usually if I pull and I start fighting, I'll hit it once. If it doesn't land, then so be it. And I just kind of keep going. And the pet attack, I got pet attack, Merc assist in case I have a melee merc up. I always keep them on call assist. I turn the auto thing off so that I know he's not going to mess with anything or screw up until everybody's actually fighting. And the cast 7 here is this buff that has a pitch count on it that will heal the target of the pet. It's good in groups as well as solo. He'll usually end up healing himself. If you're in a group, he'll help assist with heals on whoever's tanking. So that's a really nice one to have on all the time. This is my other macro here this got pretty much all the disciplines that I use. That's pretty much all of them, I think. And then Fralgia, if that's how you pronounce it. I'm an idiot, so please bear with me. It's a combo spell that does swarm pets as well as gives a buff for you and your pet. I think it might be the whole group too. What is it? Let me see. Growl. I think it's just you and your pet. I don't think this hits the whole group. I could be wrong. I haven't really noticed. I don't click on the other group members after I have started hitting this. I'm too busy fighting. So, somebody in the comments, you want to say, hey, it does hit the group. I'm like, okay, well, it's good for people to know that. Anyway, it does really good. Then Fury Rune. This one is, those other ones are kind of stuff that everybody generally will do. I like on my 4 button, I like to have Fury and this Maelstrom. This is a big nuke that you get. That's like a combo nuke that does a bunch of extra nukes, and it's just a bunch of nukage damage for a reasonable cost. Fury is this progression buff that is excellent. It's one of the better ones of the progression buffs, and this hits the entire group, and it's pretty awesome. You can read what it does there. It's a nice boost to DPS. I just do it right from the get-go. I don't save it for anything. I just always put it on. The cooldown on it is pretty so I think it's a minute or almost a minute. What is that? Does it say on what the cooldown is? It gives the timer number. I don't know what that is. I don't know what the timer 19 cooldown is, but there's that. So a lot of times, anyway, and then these are the dots. Yes, I'm using dots. I'm part shaman. I'm going to use dots. It's just my way of thinking. A lot of people, I don't know if they're seen as better or worse than the nuke. A lot of people just don't use dots. They just prefer to use all the nukes because they're more mana efficient. I think the dots do a little bit more damage. And if I don't want to use the dots, I just don't use them. I just keep casting this nuke over and over again. And the delay on this, I know, is like about 6 seconds. So it's not completely spammable, but you're able to cast it often enough that it's a nice little extra damage. So again, I'm a grouper. I'm not a raider. So it does well enough. And this is I put Paragon on this button, as well as Consume Spirit. I don't like the other Paragon that you have to target yourself or target somebody else with. I just don't want to have to retarget stuff. If they ever change that, so it's just a group buff, a lesser version of regular Paragon, which it already is, but you don't have to target with it, then fine. I'll start using it again, but I just haven't felt a need to use it ever since I got Consume Spirit. So, which is like the shaman thing where you trade hit points for mana. Shared Merciless Ferocity. This one here, this buff. It's the shorter lasting buff. This one right here. So occasionally I want to recast it, and I'm always hitting Consume Spirit and Paragon on cooldown. So this, this will go off, and I don't have to manually point over here and hit it. And I don't have to do that. And these other two here, my breastplate and Roar of Thunder, I put on here because I didn't know where else to put it. Most of the time, I don't even use them. I should. I'm not, I'm not the best. I got to figure out a different method so that I can use those more consistently with my buttons. Drop aggro button is very important. Okay, this right here is playing possum. Sorry, I'll label this. Is it 2 S's for possum? Yeah, that's what I thought. Let me go ahead and save that before okay. For anybody who didn't know, when you put parentheses like this for a line for the AA that you can activate, you have the Alt-Act command, then you have the number for the AA. I always like to, if you do this, it's like commenting out. If you know anything about code, you can use hashtags to comment to describe what a certain command, some code is doing. And parentheses, when you put those in a social macro, it does the same thing. It's where you can label it. So, a year or two from now, or maybe, a month from now, or whatever, you don't forget, oh, what the hell is that number? What's this do? And then you have to go through you have to try it out and figure out okay, I see it now. It's just labeled. I like to label things when I think about it. So this right here will make you do an FD right here, playing possum. It's on a 15-second refresh, okay? It's a feign death ability with a 97% chance of success. It feels like it's less. And then you got, okay, so it'll be broken by a spell, 70% for that. This helps, like I labeled it, it's drop aggro. If you're in a fight and you're doing a lot of damage and you're starting to pull some aggro, more aggro than you care to have, I hit this. What it does is I feign death. And then there's, for server lag, I put in a slight pause and I stand back up. It says sit, but it'll stand you back up if you're prone. and then another slight pause for any server lag that might be going on, and then that turns my attack back on for me to start swinging again. This is nice to have. You know, play your Beast Lords however you want, but I like having this to help manage my aggro just in case. It's also very helpful to use if you're fighting more than one mob at a time. I have tanked rare mobs in Lorien's Song, heck, even a couple, the captains in Theater of Eternity in TOB, the Outer Brood. I've killed a couple of those rares solo. Well, I consider with a merc solo because there's no other players with me, and I don't box. So I've done that, and in so doing, this really helps because you got these other AAs going down. I'm not sure if I really want to go through that. This is going to be long. Anyway, this helps with aggro. I wandered too much. Okay, here we go. I just named this Pet Power and then Pet Power 2. This basically does this entire line, with the exception of False Death. That's just, shouldn't really, that's not part of it. It's just basically from here. Oh, actually, from here on down. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, from Frenzied Swipes all the way back is what these two buttons do. Okay? And number 8, we'll do these first 5. And number 9, we'll do these next 5. So bestial alignment, I'm just going to go through these, okay? And there, as you can see, these right here are set up and labeled. I'm pretty sure they're labeled accurately. Pretty sure. So I'm going to hit these so you can see what they do. I'm talking too much, so I'm just going to kind of go slowly through these so you can see. Some of these, the order of these, from what I understand, does make a difference. I am not so skilled as to be completely aware of if I have these in an order that's the best order to have them in or not. So that right there, Fortified Companion ends this button number 8, and I wait until bestial, I think it's bestial alignment. Yeah, I wait until bestial alignment here is done. And once that is all the way done, because bestial, the group version of that, which is this one, will not land. So I always wait for the other one to go off from the buff line in the songs completely before I hit number 9, which is this. It's got those right here. So right here starts with that, then that. I think I get in the wrong order. No, I didn't. Then this one, and this one, and then this one. Let's see here. What else? Crap button is this right here. Is I didn't label these. False Death. That's the AA Fade. It's 100%. I'll link it in a second. So False Death is the Beastlord version of what Death's Effigy, what Shadow Knights and Necros have. Ours is a minute longer cooldown, and I'd imagine the Monks is probably shorter than this too, because we're a hybrid class. Anyway, it costs 2% of the mana, and it wipes all the aggro for sure. for both you and your pet. So it's very important that your pet, when you use it to save your bacon, that your pet stops attacking. And because of server lag and stuff, I put 3 of them here to make sure the pet is really backed off and stopped attacking before this activates. Because if it's still attacking when you activate this, it'll clear your aggro, but it won't clear the pet's. And then you're in a little bit of a pickle. Assuming you pressed it not just because of pulling, just whatever the situation is. The pets are great, but they can still get overwhelmed, and it's always a hassle to re-equip pets and stuff like that. And I got playing possum here as a backup to at least save my bacon, but frankly it's probably not needed here unless I'm using it to pull. And then if you use playing possum and use this for if false death is down, you really need to pull with your slow spell instead of your pet. I am going to cover, and this right here is, I like to forage, so you got forage and then sit. You cannot forage while you're sitting down or prone, but if you forage first, then you can do that action, and then you can auto inventory whatever you may have foraged. My invisibility is a similar thing. I forage, cast the ability, invisibility, and auto inventory. Pet back off on this is here for when I'm pet pulling. I use that button, this invis button. I don't need to go invis when I'm pulling with the pet, but it's something that I just wanted to put that command on a button so I could just hit a button instead of have to go over where the pet stuff is and hit back off, or have to come up here, put a back off button over here to have to actually click. I don't like clicking with my mouse anymore, and I have to. So, well, speaking of clicking with my mouse, I'm just going to refresh that one buff that was almost done there. Okay, I'm in Viz. So I'm going to pet pull that guy right there. And you will see, I should, he's attacking the pet. I have the pet back off, and now it's coming. And the aggro's on the pet. The pet grabs a really good amount of aggro right off the bat. It can generally get healed at least once. I just hit number 3. I hit number 4. And since I'm soloing, I do use my dots. So I'm going to hit number 5 to throw my dots down. And then I'm going to hit number 6, which will do consume spirit. And now number 3 is ready again, so I'm going to recast number 3. And if I wanted to, I could hit number 4 again to nuke. I'm a big believer in being efficient if you're just soloing, unless you're going against a rare. So I try to conserve mana when I can. So I'm just going to hit him. I'm not pressing anything right now, because these right here are on auto activate. I've done that again. I'm going to do Fury again. Fury. Oh, I didn't cover that, did I? I'm going to cover that. I'll cover it during this fight. The Fury, I have Pet Rune as well as Nature's Salve, which cures diseases and curses and crap like that. I put those on this button too. If Fury casts like it's supposed to, it'll be casting during the act of casting for these 2 things. Well, it won't activate either of these 2 things. Then it'll land, it'll be done casting, and land on this right here is usually the one goes off. It's not foolproof. Once in a while I cast Salve. I've even casted Men Companion. It doesn't always, matter of fact, see, it's already done there, because when you fizzle a spell, all bets are off and all the A's will just kind of go off. So if it doesn't have a cast time, so that's generally how Men Companion gets used by accident. Thankfully, the Men Companion isn't really needed that much. I don't even, as you can see, I don't even roll with a pet heal or anything, or any kind of heals in my lineup. So I'm going to pull one more example, then I'm going to end this video. I like doing pet pulling because you can do it from really farther away than your casting range is. And you just saw my Merc heal my pet a couple times, and he still maintained aggro over the Merc. So hit number 3, now number 4. It did Fury, and then it casted the pet rune. I'm going to do my dots again. I'm going to try to slow this one so you can see possibly how unreliable the slow is. Okay, it landed the first time. Of course it lands on the first time. But trust me, it doesn't always land on the first time. Many times it doesn't. A lot of times you end up casting it 2 or 3 times if you're really stubborn and really want the mob slowed. But as you can tell by how I've been fighting, it's not really needed necessarily on trash mobs anyway. It's not really needed. Now I'm going to do 6 to do Consume Spirit again to help with mana. And when I hit number 3, when all of the stuff is up again, you can hit 3 over and over again just whenever anything is up. Anyway, I hit Fury again. By the time Fury becomes active again, so does the pet rune. And just to help this go along faster, I'm going to hit dots again. The dots get resisted a decent amount of the time too. We don't have any way of lowering. See, there you go. One got resisted there. This one here, Lazam's Chill, they got resisted. Should be right here. But it's not that big a deal. On trash mobs especially, I don't really have to hit anything. I pull it, stick the pet on, melee it with the pet going, and I could, I don't have to do these buffs. I can just auto attack it to death. And it takes like 3 minutes for the mob to die, but I mean, if you're distracted, you have to talk on the phone, or you have to go to the bathroom real quick. If you're pretty secure in where you're at, so that you're not going to run into any mobs, aren't going to, come upon you or something like that. It's a pretty stress-free way to play it. I don't do it that much, but it's nice to know it's there. If you're distracted, or if you have kids, whatever, there's that. Anything else? I will cover quickly the round kick. I got kick here, but I don't really, you don't want to ever use that. Round kick, as you can see, is auto-activated. I right-clicked on this. If you want to auto-activate ability on characters that can have that done, usually they're not casters or priest class ones, they are the hybrids and the melee characters. You have to have the skill on the bar, then you right click on it, hold it down, and you can see there's auto-activate. This one is not auto-activated. See, there's no little star next to that, right? And if you're a monk or Beastlord, I don't see any reason why you'd ever want to activate that. This right here is not auto-activated because Eagle Strike will do a dot, an extra dot that also lowers aggression toward you, which is great, and it's a little bit extra DPS, and that's fine. But as a general rule, this right here I like to use. I have this auto-activated because there's a stun that goes along with the tail rake, or if you're a human, it would be not roundhouse. I don't know what it's called. Sorry. But whatever the human equivalent to the tail rake is, that. Um, it does a second and a half, 1.5 second stun to the mob, all the way up to level 129 at this max level. And I'm 125, so 4 levels higher than you, you can still stun stuff. It helps a little bit, and there's also it reduces your aggro with it too. And there's a damage component also to it. I mean, okay, fine, let me just bring up the AA. There's somebody bebopping around, probably. They're going to ask if they can take the camp, maybe, if they're not rude. But I'm not here for the camp, so it's fine. It would be under class. Bite of the Asp is what goes with the Eagle Strike. I believe it's Gorilla something. Gorilla Smash goes with Tail Rake. Dragon Punch is what the human version is. But Tail Rake does Gorilla Smash. This is maxed out. Does a base damage, a skill attack of 330, which is E. Reduces the hatred by 11k, which is good. And it stuns level 129 or lower targets by, it says 1 second. I thought it was a second and a half. Fine, 1 second. So there you go. 1 second. It's enough to interrupt spell casting, and it kind of helps. It's basically the Beastlord's version of Bash, right? I'll switch. Sometimes I'll go off of that and I'll put Eagle Strike back on. It just kind of depends on my mood sometimes, but it depends on the situation for people. So this is my Beastlord. I'm a lot better at Ranger than I am in Necro than I am at Beastlord, but I'm learning, and that's the kind of system I've kind of stumbled onto and my little rediscovering of my Beastlord, which I haven't played in years, I don't think. There's 1 or 2 videos on my channel from a long time ago. I think I did some Twitch things during COVID. So there might be some, I think it was during COVID, so they were pretty old, but I uploaded them also to YouTube. And there we go. This is LWDQ. Hope you enjoyed the Beastlord setup I got. If you like it, use it. If you don't, or you think I can improve it, just let me know in the comments. All right. Rock on, and I'm out.